Okay, hello and welcome to another God matchup 1v1. This one will be Chulainn versus Artio. Um, and let's just get straight into it with the ability breakdown. Artio 2, which in her Druid stance, which is her cripple, cancels both Chulainn's leap and dash. And it lasts for 4 seconds at base and 6 seconds at max. And her other form, her bear, is a 1-second stun at level 1. These abilities are obviously very strong, very good TC. Her 2s are arguably her 2 best abilities. Considering she doesn't have an ult, it really does help. But there, unfortunately, one big weakness in Artio's kit is there's no CC immunity, so you almost always have to buy beads. Or if they have a really low CC comp, you can get away with it. But a lot of the time, you will have to buy beads, unfortunately. There's also high sustain in Artio kit with her 1 healing for 140 plus magical power, and then 30 per tick. I don't know how many ticks it is. I think it's 4 or 5. It's about 120, so it's about the same as that at max. However, Chulainn obviously counters this with his anti-heal on his 1. Just the issue is, at the early stage of the game, Chulainn 1 is used to clear wave, not really for fighting, in that sense, so it's harder to engage it on this. And it's the same with these. These don't provide much healing out of the game, because obviously you're using them to clear wave rather than to heal. Obviously, Artio lacks an ult, because she's a stance changer. Instead, she has 6 other abilities that are decent, and there's also obviously high CC in Artio kit. So we talked about the Sun and the Cripple, but on her Druid Stance 3, she has a Root and a Slow. She probably has other ones, like her Charge and her 3 Bear Stance, probably something. And her Maul and her 1 in her Bear Stance also provides stuff. I just don't remember. Build breakdown, obviously. This meta is currently, it seems to be quite a Guardian heavy meta, so because of Tyrannical Plate Helm being very strong right now, so it makes her strong, obviously. And Vamp Shroud obviously works really well with Artio, even with the nerf sustaining her in lane. She obviously already has sustain, but the real nice thing about Vamp Shroud is it provides you with mana sustain as well, which obviously Artio doesn't have outside of, well, she does in the blue buff, but in her kit. Both gods obviously are strong with Bulwark and Mystical. Artio prefers a Breastplate of Valor to a more damaging item. She wants to be that bit more tanky in the fights. And late game Ethereal Staff, obviously stealing health from enemies, always really nice. And it obviously does damage as well, so it's really, really good for late game. One of your last items you would buy, and it's she does feel really nice with a Soul Gem, because she can proc it very often. If you can fit it in, obviously, if you feel like you've already got enough procs last item, you can always do that. If not, you can always get a Mantle or a Spirit Robe, or even a Magi's Cloak if you want the. I'd go with the Magi's Cloak, because gives you that 1 CC immunity. And then obviously you also got Hide of the Urchin's always nice as well. That whole tree is nice. Just depends on what situation you find yourself in. And I've only really wrote about Artio because I tend to focus these on the god that isn't Chulainn, because obviously we talk about Chulainn every time. So you should already know a little bit about Chulainn. But Chulainn is obviously he's strong with Bulwark and Mystical, strong with Pestilence. Obviously gets a shield. Rangers and Warriors start. There's one thing about Artio, she won't get the Rangers start, so it's gonna. That actually kind of brings me on to the laning phase, which she will match the earlier pressure of Chulainn, even with Rangers, because she can sustain through it, and she obviously has good damage, But for the first few levels, you know, you might need to sit a little bit in tower, like, except that a few UAs are going to be, you know, eaten, especially that first enrage from Chulainn. You don't really want to be boxing him then. But after you get plate home, you can actually start boxing him in his range form and win, because it's so strong, the plate home. But during late levels 8 to 17, really, the gods won't be doing much to each other in lane, and you should just be looking to rotate out as much as possible, impact the map. You know, go to gold fights, help your mid lane, do the Scorpion, try and invade their buffs, and jungle and proxy and all that stuff. That's what you really want to be doing. You don't want to try and be boxing each other in lane, because at the end of the day, you're going to not kill each other, really. You're just going to be annoying each other, and that's all you're doing. And to be honest, the laning phase should be trying to get ahead of Chulainn. It doesn't have to be in, like, just soloing him. It also can just be from farming the jungle and the solo lane better than him. She'll feel really bad if she's behind, and she will start to struggle after the transition to teamfight phase, because she obviously she's a little worse in the team fights, especially if she's behind. So you want to try and get ahead as much as you can and try and limit the effect that Chulainn's going to have in these team fights. But talking of the team fight phase, we're going to move on to it. Chulainn will provide more space creation and damage, because the carriers have to respect the character a lot more than Artio. Like, Artio you can kind of just ignore, especially if you've seen her use her dash. That's her main form of damage. It's like, okay, the most she's going to do is stun me or cripple me or something like that. It's not like she's not going to kill me. Whereas Chulainn, even if he used all his abilities, like, he hits me like a few times, I'm dead. Okay, I need to make sure I stay away from him. She becomes a bit more of a CC bot to set up for the team, which is perfectly fine, by the way. Playing a setup god is not bad. Like, say you're playing like Erlang jungle, that's what you want to be. You want to be the CC bot. You know? Do you want to taunt them? It's all that kind of thing. It's not as potent as Cuckoo in this situation. And she will struggle to survive multiple setup ults, or even just one if she hasn't bought beads. But because once she's pulled in, she can easily be focused down. You know, if the Dargy ult, and then Dargy says, you know, everyone realizes, oh, this Artio doesn't have beads. Dargy just always says, well, let's all just wait for the Artio to come in and die. Then you're just dead. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not that you've done anything wrong other than you haven't got beads. That's all it is. And she can solo and kill carries easily if she's ahead, and even if she's not ahead, she can solo. She does provide damage. You just have to keep it in the back of your mind. Okay, she's just dash, so I'm safe for now. And okay, now she has dash again. I need to be a bit more careful of her. I need to make sure I'm dodging it and all that. So keep her in mind, but she's not like Chulainn where you actively have to run away from him. But Artio is still good at zoning, but I would say she's more suited to like sieging / objective, because when you're zoning for an objective, you're not looking to kill anyone. You're just looking to keep them away for as long as possible, which obviously she has a 1.4 second stun at max, and she has a 4-6 second cripple, and then a slow to stop the enemy from getting to the thing, which if your team hasn't done it by then, that's not your fault. However, Chulainn is still good at this, but he just does it in a different way, which is through damage. So it's more effective against ADCs, what Chulainn does, but it's also less effective against tanks, because tanks don't mind the damage, whereas ADCs obviously do. Whereas Artio, she can really annoy the tanks, but not the ADCs as much, because the ADCs is just like, okay, this damage is like, yes, I would rather not take it, but it's not enough to stop me from going to try and attack the fire giant. And Artio is just, she's a great frontline and peeler. She obviously can fill the role of support as well, and she can peel really well. Obviously as solo, not your primary objective, but if you got nothing else going on, you might as well peel for your backline, and you know she's really good at that. And she also has decent chase down with her dash, especially with that being buffed to 100% movement speed, and obviously her slow and her cribble and her and all the CC. So she has great chase down as well. So Chulainn actually struggles in this, like just in pure zoning from objectives last season. Although I would say he's stronger in the entirety of the team fight phase. Because the thing is, for Artio, as her damage starts to fall off, like it's still. You'd rather not take it, but at the same time, it's like you can live with it, you know. And that brings me to the conclusion. She's a very viable Guardian solo, and one of the few which can compete with Warriors early game. Like if you're thinking like your Cyberish, your Cthulhu, Ymir maybe. That's who you're thinking of when you think of those. Oh, Yom, obviously. She provides super high CC with middling damage, especially late game. It starts falling off quite badly, especially because she can't really go the Warriors Axe start. So that's something to keep in mind. She can carry the game via leads, obviously. Every god can, but she can really do it quite well. And effectively rotate around the map. I mean, her dash, unfortunately, is her main source of damage, but is also quick now at getting around the map. But on the other hand, obviously, Chulainn excels at the teamfight phase, which is truly what matters, and he does excel in the laning phase. I know I said they were equal, but I would take Chulainn over her just slightly because of his range from, it's just Chulainn. He's really good at boxing, and Artio is still really good at boxing, but I would take Chulainn over an Artio. She obviously isn't weak in those areas either. I mean, Chulainn overall will come out on top, but like Artio is still strong, and it's one of them where it's like, yeah, okay, you haven't lost if you've picked Artio into Chulainn kind of thing. Well, there's obviously some things are like that, like if you pick Mulan into anyone. I kid. Or do I? Find out when I do the Mulan one. Eventually. But yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Is she's strong, but she's not as strong as Chulainn. And I mean, it's hard to be as strong as Chulainn. It's just a very good god in all ways. So I hope you found this informative in any way. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've had a good day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.